Wait, so are you saying that ChatGPT got dumber?
I'm not saying it, but scientists have. I mean,
Science says it.
if you
You sound
Google
like
it,
Fauci. It's not me saying
yeah,
it.
oh, it's
Science
not
says
science.
it. Tell us, do you ever use ChatGPT or AI in personal life? And if so, how?
Nope, I don't.
Like at all?
Um,
Like not even to plan a trip or build an exercise plan or?
no.
Oh, really?
Honestly,
Okay.
yeah, I know I could, and maybe I'm just one of those people that like I why I need an
Dude,
exercise.
I think I use ChatGPT more for personal stuff than I do for professional stuff.
Yeah, I think what I've seen it done really well, and I've never done this, but a lot of my students have, is like you get an email from a client, and it's like you know, red flag, like pushing boundaries, like, I need this by tomorrow, like, and they use it to like write. They're like, how do I write this in a way where I'm basically saying no, but in a way that's like, polite and respectful,
I've
but
done
like,
that.
and it's
I've
like
done that.
perfect at that, it's like,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'm gonna have to politely, like, and I'm like, that's genius.
I
Um,
love the way you do it too. See that?
yeah, planning a trip is actually, you put that idea in my head just now, is I probably would use it for that because
No,
I
it's very good at
travel
that.
a
Yeah.
lot and I'm so last minute when it comes to planning. Like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are. Like, I book the flights, I book the hotel, and then like 3 days before, I'm like, have we made dinner reservations? Like, what are we going to do? So like knowing like, hey, I'm going to be spending a week in Paris, what should I see or what should I do? I don't know. I should probably be asking you, like, what are the ways that you use it personally? Because then maybe you'll give me some ideas. To be honest, I
Sure.
just I just either work all the time or I'm like closing my computer. F this. I want to be out in the forest, like with my dog. So I feel like anytime I'm not working, I'm not on my computer. I don't do a lot of personal stuff online.
Well, cool. Well, all right. Well, at least you don't do drugs. So,
I don't do drugs.
which again, for the purpose of this show, it's a good thing, but in some other context, might be a bad thing. So let me share a few examples how I use it in my personal life. Well, obviously, you've seen the comic book thing that I've done,
Yeah,
but
so
I've
cool.
been writing comic books for my daughter, especially for my daughter. I haven't actually written any for my son yet, because I wanted to create a few stories that instill different ideas.
Hmm.
For example, the first one that I wrote, I don't have it here, but I do have the cover. Um, it's called Erica and the Birds, and
Oh
she's a
my God, so
superhero.
cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
so
actually
she,
just thinking that, like, really empowering little girl superhero.
yeah,
Like, that's
exactly.
that's the comic books that we need. Yes.
Yeah, so that one, but it took me a year to get that project done because I kept procrastinating. I didn't
Right.
know what I was doing. So, but I'm very proud of that because I noticed that my daughter just doesn't. So as a kid growing up, when I would see Superman, Batman, or any other superheroes, I would like really resonate with them, and I could imagine myself in that suit or with that cape, and it really inspired me. And my daughter did not register the same. Like I think I told her like, hey, the Avengers are out. Are you excited to see Iron Man? Because I'm a big fan. And she's like, yeah, okay. It's like, huh? And then I noticed that when Miss Marvel came out or Captain Marvel came out, she was really excited to see that. I was like, oh, I see. So she needs female superheroes because apparently, being a girl, just like if you're
Mm-hmm.
a boy, right? You're breaking the world into boys and girls,
Mm.
and whatever's girls apply to girls, whatever's boys applies to boys. It's like my son. We really wanted for him to do like, how these soccer players, they tend to have like this pony thing right here, like Gareth
Yeah.
Bale used to
What's
have.
up with that?
I love it. My wife loves it too. So we wanted our son to have it, and he would refuse anytime we would try because he's like, no, long hair is for girls, right? So
You're
we
like,
had to
but
overcome
David
that a bit.
Beckham.
No, seriously, like we eventually figured it out. But my point being is that I use it for ideas on how to communicate to my kids a lot.
Oh
Because
wow.
let's say I catch my daughter on TikTok. One day I actually got a message from my best friend, and he said, "Hey, if I see something that Erica's doing on TikTok, do you want me to tell you, or do you want me to just keep it to myself?" I said, "No, no, I want you to tell me
Yeah.
because I should know."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I just watched a video that she recorded out of her bathroom. and she was like talking about a vagina or something, and she's like 10 at the time. So first I did a few breathing exercises and punched a wall, and
Oh my
then
god.
and then I really wanted to have a conversation with her about like boundaries for TikTok. And
Smart.
I
Yeah.
basically I went to ChatGPT and said, "Hey, this happened. How can I explain to a 10-year-old that this is not cool? And Can you use a story?
Oh
Because I
wow.
believe storytelling is so powerful. I just
Oh
try to
yeah.
use it
That's
every
that's a
time I
whole other
can."
podcast we could talk
Oh,
about
it's a whole
storytelling.
other
Yeah.
coaching program. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So it gave me a story, and my daughter understood. All of a sudden,
Wow, that's
boundaries are enforced.
cool.
I definitely use it with my friends and family. So a birthday song, a poem, maybe. I remember. So this past birthday that I had in August, we were doing an escape room in. Have you ever been to Toronto?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You've been to Casa Loma?
No.
It's like a big. It's like the closest thing to a castle we got here. It's
Got
like
it.
a really rich British guy used to live here for a long, long time ago, but they made it
Got
into a
it.
museum.
Okay. Wow, cool.
So in that thing, there's the museum, and there's a bunch of escape rooms. You ever done an escape room before?
Nope. They gave me like anxiety thinking about escape
Oh,
room.
dude, you should totally do an escape room.
I should because I do love
Just
like
just for fun.
mysteries and solving problems, but okay.
No, no, they're really well themed
It's like
too,
let me get this straight. I'm going to be trapped in a room.
with a bunch of people
That sounds like
for
my
an
version
hour.
of hell. Like no, thank you.
Typical copywriter interlude.
Yeah, seriously. Like I am literally in the middle of nowhere in the woods right now. Yeah, yeah, no, that anyway, keep going.
All right. So I'm inviting everybody to do an escape room, but I don't want to tell them it's an escape room because I know if I'll say that it is, I do have lots of introverted friends and they will
Yeah,
bail on me.
totally. 100%.
So I ask it to write like an invitation without revealing that it's an escape room, but hinting at it using language, which it did well. And then I asked it to write it in like an 18th century English,
Oh my
but
gosh.
aristocratic English. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, I dropped them this message. It gets good feedback. It's fun. So I use that. I like that's another use case.
I
I've
love that. Like that that's such a good. You're putting ideas in my head now about how to use it for personal fun stuff. Like that sounds really
And it's fun
really
too. As a
good. Yeah.
copywriter, you get to play with words, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if you get off on that, but like I totally geek out on like finding the right phrase, language
Oh,
pattern, word,
I'm
frame, anything.
obsessed. Etymology too, like understanding where words come. Like I love it. But even just the converting to like 18th century English, like to know how to do that, like I would probably just throw in a bunch of thous and hope for the best. But to be like, hey, translate this, and it would probably do a pretty good job. I think that's so smart.
Oh, it's pretty good. It really does a great job of like following instructions when it comes to style. Have you ever tried taking your copy and asking
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT rewrite it as if it's like some like a famous writer or copywriter, like Gary Halbert
Yep.
style, Stephen King
Yep.
style?
Yeah, I think it's easier for really like very because when I say because a lot of my students will do this, they'll be like, write this in Alex Catoni style, and it's almost comical. Like it's a lot of like, hey there, boss babes, and I've never in my life said those words. So I think
Space.
it tries, but I think in terms of Stephen King, which I don't know if you know, there's actually a huge lawsuit right now against OpenAI because Stephen King and the writers of
Get
those
me
novels,
upset.
they're like, you're using our books to train anyway. Um, uh, there's such specific there's such specific style and words, and it's a lot more noticeable, or at least being able to say, yeah, that's definitely in Stephen King's style versus using, let's say, a copywriter where it might be like 50% different from me. But I mean, to me, that it's so fascinating that it even knows how to do that. It's wild.
Yeah. And what is even more fascinating to me personally, and I only understood that like a month ago when a really smart friend explained it to me, like it doesn't actually know. Like it was loaded with information that 1 + 1 = 2,
Right.
but it doesn't actually know that.
Right. Yeah.
It's like a parrot that repeats it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
that,
that's
like, what helps me kind of understand that is knowing it's just a predictive generative model of like, when this happens and then this happens, this is what comes next. And like the perfect example of that is how there's been a Stanford study recently about AI hallucinations, about how people are treating it like they would treat Google, in the sense that they're assuming all the information is accurate. And like they did a math problem where, simple math problems, the accuracy used to be like 98%. Because if you think about it, the people who trained AI in the beginning were all like, smart, educated technologists. And now everybody's using it, and the whole world is training it. And, the same simple math problem was only 2% accurate after that. And that's when you realize, like, wait, it's not a calculator.
mm.
it's it's a predictive model based on all of the information it is accessing, and all of the people training it. And so
So are you saying that ChatGPT got dumber?
I'm not saying it, but scientists have. And
Science says it.
if you
You sound
Google
like
it,
Fauci. It's not me
yeah,
saying it.
oh, it's
Science
not
says
science. If you
it.
actually Google, I mean, if anyone's interested in reading about it, AI hallucinations Stanford study, they are saying that potentially, temporarily, I'm guessing, because obviously AI is only going to continue to get smarter, that when it was made accessible to the masses of people, and there was a lot more input and a lot more data, and a lot of it that was not accurate, let's say, that, yeah, it did get dumber for a bit. And maybe it still is. I don't know. I can't speak to that, but you can research it.
I don't want it to get dumber. I rely on it way
Right.
too much.
Well,
Um,
exactly. Exactly. And then it's like,
um,
wait, am I getting dumber now? Wait, what's happening?
no, we will. I mean, we are very much like creatures of habit. As soon as the habit is formed, it's formed. Like if we got our phone that's now an extension of the brain, and
100%.
obviously ChatGPT is a further extension of the brain, the more we use it, it's just going to be ridiculous. But I still look forward to the world. Like again, as an example, one thing that it enables me to do right now is to chat with a friend, very effectively, in a different language.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, like I actually, went in and started using it. I said, I want you to translate what I type into a slang in that language, not just like try to like use a dictionary on me. Like Google
Right.
Translate is very challenging, even
Very,
to this day. It's been around for so long, but it's
yeah.
still not there. And ChatGPT does such a good job of understanding context of what I'm trying to say that all I have to do is just copy and paste the message after that. And it is just one of the uses. Like for example,
Yeah.
another use. Did you ever use it to do self therapy?
No, but I do know some therapists that are creating some pretty cool yeah, some pretty cool use cases for AI in therapy. So,
It's pretty good at that. Like out of all the things, I actually rank it very high in the
wow,
ability
yeah.
to identify. Like, so I remember I was having a really bad day, and I wrote to it, it's like this happened, and I feel this way. What's going on? Why do I keep feeling this way whenever something like this happens? And it really like broke it down in using cognitive, uh, uh, psychology of some kind. And it's like I don't understand what you're saying. Can you like explain it to me like I'm five? It's like, look,
Close
you
your
are.
computer, go outside, get some exercise.
Yeah, well, that was like the next thing. It actually
Yeah.
suggests actions you can take too. But it's like,
Yeah.
look, your emotional well-being is kind of like a castle, and when somebody says or does this, you feel like you're being attacked, so you build walls around the castle to protect yourself by acting this way. It's like, oh,
Wow.
that makes a lot of sense. I do act this way too because I feel butthurt and because blah blah blah. So it's really cool. Additionally, this is something sort of like work and life. Are you familiar with the? So I originally learned this from Paris. Help me with his last name. The copywriter, the Greek copywriter from New York,
Oh, I have no idea.
Lampropoulos. Paris,
Sure, let's
Paris.
go. No, I
Everybody knows
don't.
Paris.
Yeah.
So he was doing this thing for a charity for his brother or cousin, and he shared the concept of life traps or schemas and how he
Mm-hmm.
applies it to copy. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm. I mean,
So
I gather what you're saying, but no, I've never specifically heard him talk about that.
basically, the theory is, and there's a book, it's called Reinventing Yourself, that explains it, is that we all have a set of behaviors that we do over and over and over and over and over again, like a broken record,
Right.
because of a particular mechanism or default loop that we're stuck in. And there's like 18 of them, and there could be something like, for example, mistrust, right? So you definitely have mistrust because you've built your whole business around that, which means you fundamentally have a hard time. Again, I'm assuming based on what I've heard today, but have fundamentally have a hard time trusting people in certain context. At the very least, we know it's in the context of online marketing, gurus,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a mechanism that runs you, and that you can't help but let it run you. And so it's very easy to trigger you with that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
As well as you look at the world with those glasses, where like anything that's out of the just stepping a little bit outside of the lane will appear to you as if you're being mistreated, lied, etc. Now, I
Right.
do happen to have that myself because I was born in Ukraine and grew up in Israel,
Right.
and you really have to be careful in those countries. You do get, you know, there's a lot of mistrust. Let's just put it this way. So I
Mm-hmm.
can really resonate with that. And so this is true for every human being. Your life partner, your children, your business partner, your employees, your customers, everybody. So I use it to kind of better understand the people in my life,
Mm.
people I care about. And so I know how to better communicate with them in a way that they understand, because it's almost like, you're, let's say we're both speaking English, but I'm speaking, say, the British dialect and you're speaking the Australian dialect. We're having a hard time communicating because we got different mechanisms that get in the
Yeah.
way, you
Different
know?
lenses through which we see and experience life. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So ChatGPT understands this. He has
Hmm.
the database, right? And so it helped me create this, which is a infographic. Now, not just ChatGPT, also my assistant Sausen, but like it helped me create basically a title, description, an image, and an example for each one that I could then
Mm-hmm.
copy and paste into a doc, send it to my assistant, and say, hey, can you go to Canva and put this into like a thing, an infographic, so I can have it for reference. I couldn't do that before ChatGPT. I really couldn't. I just
Hmm.
wouldn't sit down and
Yeah.
and go through the book myself.
Right. Yeah. Very cool. Love it. So many great use cases. I love it.
Anyway, I think it's the longest running episode we've had. This is very, very fun talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
So if somebody wants to, I'm not sure if you do any client work these days, but if somebody wants to learn from you, follow you, hire you for their copy projects, be in your world, besides obviously your YouTube channel, titled, I believe, Alex
Alex
Catoni.
Catoni. Yep. My name. Yep.
Where else can they go to get into your world?
Yeah, the best place is copyposse.com. I don't take on clients that much anymore at all, but I do have a huge community of incredible writers. So if you are looking for a writer, specifically a writer who understands copywriting and brand storytelling, which is a huge part of what I teach, you can find out more about that there, as well as connect with me on all of my different social channels and things like that.
There you go, guys. Look up Alex Catoni on social. Go to Copy Posse. That's OSSE.com. And Alex, I haven't had this fun on an episode in a while. Thank you.
Yay! That makes me happy here. Thank you so much, Igor. It's super fun.